Cunningham took a jab at Caitlin Clark's newest WNBA foes by signing a Jacy Sheldon trading card with a rather humorous message written across the fans' collectible.
Sophie Cunningham just put Jacy Sheldon in her place after that dirty shot on Caitlin Clark, turning the WNBA into her own personal Fight Club moment. She did it off the court as well.
Oh, no.
She ensured that everyone was aware of it. For you, a question. Is Sophie's energy too much for you? Or do you like it? The thing is this. When a teammate like Caitlin Clark is a superstar, you have two options. Defend her or just stand by and watch helplessly as the league makes crude fun of her. Obviously, Sophie Cunningham went with option 1. Additionally, she is doing it in a way that her supporters adore. All of this is related to that game. That's the same one where Marina Maberry rushed right through Clark after the whistle, deciding she was trying out for the NFL. However, Jacy Sheldon executed a move that had Fever supporters want to send maybe right to the WNBA penalty box before she hit. If only there was that. Fans viewed Sheldon's shot as totally unwarranted, as he was already becoming known for being far too at ease becoming violent with Clark. And don't believe Sophie Cunningham was going to overlook that. Cunningham took matters into her own hands later in the game. She really gave Sheldon a taste of her own medicine by letting her know that there are repercussions for pursuing Caitlin Clark, and she didn't limit it to the court. Let's fast forward to a fan event. Sophie is sitting there taking pictures, signing autographs, and performing the standard player-fan interaction. She is given a JCS Sheldon rookie card by a fan, who requests that she sign it with more than just her name. Unfortunately, they wanted her to stamp it.
Crazy. When you get Sophie Cunningham to sign a Jacy Sheldon rookie card with property of, that is crazy. That is crazy.
Sophie takes the card, picks up a pen, and writes, "Property of Sophie Cunningham," across the front. It is more than just a signature. It's a message. "Yeah, I own this matchup," is essentially what it's saying. This moment is mine. And before pursuing my teammate once more, JCS Sheldon will reconsider.
Watch when Caitlin Clark is trying to create some space. It looked like she just got hit in the eye.
The video of her performing it. Unadulterated gold. She is sitting close to teammate Lexi Hull, who is laughing just as much as the supporters. Without athletes that are unabashedly competitive and have a sense of humor, you don't get this kind of situation. And it gets even better from here. Cunningham made no attempt to retract his actions. She didn't respond with, "Oh, I was kidding." She actually leaned into it. You want your enforcer to have just that kind of intensity, because Sophie Cunningham is, without a doubt, the enforcer of the Fever. All great teams have one now. In hockey, there were men whose only responsibility it was to ensure that Wayne Gretzky wasn't touched without payment. If you fouled an NBA star like Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan too hard, his teammates would get in your face. Additionally, Caitlin Clark currently has Sophie Cunningham in the WNBA. The amusing thing is that Sophie isn't just a bench player who uses harsh fouls to get attention. In fact, she is generating. She has been on fire since the All-Star break and is a starter and a legitimate three-point shooter. When the rest of the Fever might as well have stayed home, she led up 18 points against the Mercury.
Sophie Cunningham has been Caitlin Clark's biggest cheerleader and defender.
And it literally pisses me off when people are like, she's not the face of the league.
Who would be?
What? When people try to argue that she's not the face of our league,
Yeah.
or if our league would be where we're at without her, you're dumb as
Yeah.
You're literally dumb as
The sad truth about this video we just watched is she is the first WNBA player I have seen to openly say this out loud, publicly, and not be ashamed in declaring it. Caitlin Clark is the reason we have been talking about the WNBA. Hate it or love it, it's true. I don't believe that Caitlin Clark necessarily wants that title that everyone has been giving to her. I think she just wants to be appreciated And Sophie Cunningham, she just seems like such a real one, such a good friend. I think especially with women, especially elite level athletes, there's a lot of people, women, who will kind of stab you in the back. There's a lot of jealousy, a lot of resentment, especially when you're good. But Sophie just seems like such a girl's girl. I really, really like her. Maybe Caitlin Clark should do the next American Eagle campaign, or Sophie.
She's putting up numbers, but she's also performing the grunt work that no one else seems willing to do, letting opponents know that Clark isn't fighting alone. Whether you like it or not, Clark's presence in the league has made her a target, therefore that matters. Kennedy Carter, Diamond Shields, Marina Mabrey, and now Jacy Sheldon are all examples of this. Sophie Cunningham ensured a response and made it loud enough for fans to notice, which is what makes this Sheldon incident different. Nowadays, Sophie Cunningham's autograph property is essentially a meme. Fans of Fever adore it. Fans of Clark adore it. It even appeals to neutral supporters who are sick of watching Clark being hit. It's also important to note that Jacy Sheldon's WNBA career hasn't exactly been steady thus far. She was selected by the Dallas Wings in the draft, traded a few months later, and is currently playing for the Connecticut Sun. She is already making waves in the league. When she's out here sneering at one of the most well-liked basketball players, that type of instability doesn't help her cause. The story was further cemented by Cunningham's small act at the fan event. To date, Sheldon's legacy has not been about her ability to score, defend, or create plays. Being the player who pursued Caitlin Clark is the main goal. And now Sophie Cunningham's player as well. When that video appeared on social media, you could practically hear Fever Nation's united cheer. For a team that has been the subject of ongoing media attention, it's the kind of moment that strengthens team identification. Furthermore, Cunningham is an expert in her field. She is mobilizing the fan base and alerting anyone else considering testing Clark by taking control of that moment.
Just go tomorrow. You're on the Las Vegas Strip. What can the Las Vegas expect from Sophie?
Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna be me. I don't go in there trying to predetermine anything. I'm dialed in. I need to focus on hitting my shots, making sure I'm executing the schemes right. I'm not focused on the extracurricular activities. And you know what? During that, it was just part of the game. I think the refs had a lot to do with that. It was a build-up for a couple of years now of them just not protecting, the star player of the WNBA. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to protect my teammates. That's what I do. And I'm a team player, so.
For this reason, I believe Sophie has surpassed Clark as the most popular player on the Fever team. She has skill and personality, and when it comes to important issues, she doesn't hesitate to speak up. Now, let's be honest before we proceed. If Clark had not been singled out throughout the season, this Sophie versus Jacy scenario would not even exist. And for Fever fans, that's the background that makes Sophie's property of Sophie Cunningham's autograph so fulfilling. One knee to the crotch or one shove wasn't enough in this situation. This was about Caitlin Clark finally receiving a loud public response from a teammate after a season of non-basketball plays. It's been there all year. The clip that started 1,000 talking points was Kennedy Carter's needless blindside hit. This body check by Diamond Shields appeared to be more of a hockey penalty than a basketball foul. Even while Marina Mabrey subsequently acknowledged that her reaction to the whistle shove was exaggerated, she attempted to portray it as a natural aspect of the game. And now Jacy Sheldon, who in her first year of service somehow accumulated an increasing number of mishaps against Clark. Fans of the Fever experienced the Sheldon event differently since it was accompanied by an additional layer of annoyance. She just got her WNBA CV printed. Nevertheless, she is already gaining more notoriety for her poultry than her basketball skills. The Dallas Wings selected him with the 5th overall pick in the 2024 NBA draft. Before she could even unpack, she was transferred to a different squad. She's currently in the news for hitting Clark in ways that aren't related to defense with the Connecticut Sun. If you want to be considered seriously as a professional athlete, you don't want to go down that route. After witnessing all of that, Sophie Cunningham made the decision to ensure that Sheldon's reputation as a strong girl was challenged in court. Sophie has the ability to change the mood of a game with her presence as much as her shooting. When Clark is hit, you instantly check to see if she's on the floor because you know something is going back the other way. She's the only player on the Fever that does this. That's why the autograph moment at the fan event went viral on the internet. It was more than just amusing. It served as a metaphor. The phrase property of Sophie Cunningham meant, I control this matchup. If you don't hear from me, you won't run over my teammate. Furthermore, Sophie isn't merely being difficult. She has had some of her finest career figures since the All-Star break. She is one of the few Fever players who consistently comes up when the stakes are high, making three-pointers and having double-digit scoring performances. The Phoenix Mercury game serves as an example. Sophie dropped 18 points and continued to hustle until the last buzzer, but the Fever as a team played as if they left their energy at home.
No excuses, no hiding.
Sophie's decision to take up the enforcer role, therefore, has a different outcome than if it were carried out by a bench player. In addition to participating and delivering, she is also setting an example for her teammates. This is where the analogy to traditional enforcement is relevant. If someone touched Wayne Gretzky in hockey, he had men who made sure they paid for it. If things got too rough, NBA players like Magic Johnson and Larry Bird had teammates who would physically step in. Caitlin Clark has Sophie Cunningham in the WNBA today. And that's important because, let's be honest, the WNBA hasn't seen this many eyes, ticket purchases, or TV viewers in years since Clark joined the league. However, it has also resulted in greater physical targeting than the majority of second-year players have ever experienced. Additionally, it sends the incorrect message if the Fever don't have players who are eager to answer. That Clark is up for grabs. Sophie is ensuring that the communication is not retained. Additionally, she is entertaining her admirers by doing so. You become a fan favorite by combining your personality off the court with your on-court performance. Fans of Fever and Clark have responded in a resoundingly good way. Memes referring to Sophie as Black Belt Barbie, a reference to her martial arts training, videos of the signing moment, and even statements from fans that they would purchase merchandise with Sophie Cunningham's name were all over social media. Jacy Sheldon's reputation, however, keeps moving in the opposite direction. The groin knee, the Clark foul, and Sophie's current public ownership are likely to be mentioned by the typical fan when asked what they remember about her first season. That kind of thing lingers, particularly in a league where storyline is just as important as stats. The storyline at the moment is that Sophie Cunningham isn't scared to clap back or call out anyone who targets her colleague. The fact that Sophie's response establishes a benchmark for the rest of the Fever roster is also intriguing. The implicit message is obvious. You have to defend our stars if you want to be on this team. You do more than simply watch them get hit. And what do you know? That's what the Fever need more of. Caitlin Clark's strategy isn't isolated. She requires teammates who will give her room, take hits, and deter opponents from roughing her up. Sophie Cunningham is the epitome of that. Her strategy also appeals to neutral supporters who respect athletes who defend their colleagues even though they may not have a stake in the outcome. And those kind of personalities are crucial in a league that is still struggling to get widespread recognition. Let's also discuss how uncommon this type of public insult is in the WNBA. Sure, players will get chippy during games, but openly attacking an opponent during a public signing session is something else entirely. Not only is Sophie defending Clark in the heat of the moment, she is trying to establish a reputation as someone you should avoid. Her Black Belt Barbie moniker is effective for the same reason. The background in martial arts is not the only factor. It all comes down to the combination of skill, tenacity, and unreserved swagger. She is not here to win everyone over. In addition to winning, she wants to ensure that her teammates can do the same without experiencing harassment throughout every game. What comes next in this situation? You can guarantee that this will be a plot point if the Fever and Sun play each other again this season. Supporters will be keeping an eye on Sheldon to see if he attempts anything, whether Sophie reacts, and whether Clark survives the game without getting into another mishap. Sophie's role then takes on a strategic function. Her mere presence on the court alters the opponent's calculations. Taking a cheap shot at a star when you know no one is after you is one thing. Knowing that someone like Sophie Cunningham will make you regret it is another. In the end, Sophie did more than simply correct Jacy Sheldon. Given the way this season has unfolded, she conveyed a message to the entire league that the Fever needed to send months ago. What do you think, then? Is Sophie Cunningham's property of Sophie Cunningham moment just fueling the flames, or was it the ideal opportunity to get back at Jacy Sheldon? Tell me in the comments below. Click like, subscribe, and ring that bell while you're here. You won't want to miss what takes place.